simulators. They are up the hill. If you come to the main gate, turn left across. First call for groups 5 Alpha, 7, 9, 11, and
final day of our round 2 weekend here with the Mission Foods SpeedTour. A lot of great activity coming your way here this afternoon and this morning. Sun has just coming up here in the North Georgia mountain area. Beautiful shot there, looking down over the Cube 3 architecture S's here. You can see some fog rising up out of the hillside, the sun coming up from the west, which is to our left here in the broadcast booth, and it blinds you as you're going down the front straightaway. Sun basically coming up right as you're headed down towards Mission Foods turn number 1. I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside Ben Sissel, and Cal Denice is with us as well as we get ready for our first category of racing here today. Cal.
Yes, real excited. As you mentioned, it's a little cool out. Luckily no wind, but beautiful weather. These hand-cooked tires will take a little bit of time to heat up, so we'll watch the lap times kind of tumble as the race gets going. Yeah, so on this outlap you can see everybody kind of scrubbing. Really they're going to be doing some aggressive braking to get some heat into the brakes, which will radiate into the tire as well. And as that tire heats up, it's going to soften up, giving them a little bit more grip.
And Hankook has been a great partner with us. This is the PSSA presented by Hankook. This is a split start with SVRA Group 5, 7, 9, 11, and PSSA. PSSA is coming down, and Cal Denice is our PSSA expert. He's an employee at Sebeco that makes a lot of these cars just down the road, but we also have Revolutions, Radicals, some Elans, some Panos. There's a lot of different cars that are available, and we're trying to even work those new Russias into this PSSA. They came with us at COTA, and they had a lot of them, and I think this series here could be a lot of fun because these cars are relatively inexpensive. There's parts everywhere, but the driving, it just looks like a lot of fun to race in this series as the lights go out. So we'll get into that, Cal, but the lights are going to go out, so I'm going to hand it off to the motorsports legend of Ralph Shaheen to take us to the first green of the day.
Whoa, did you see that one car?
Yeah, everybody's trying to get into those tires right now, and like I said,
it's going to be a blind start, really. They're going to assume the green flag is waving as they come out of 12, because I'm telling you, the sun is right in their eyes as we go green here at Road Atlanta and head towards Mission Foods turn number 1, Cal.
Yes, and looks like the cars are fanned out a little bit. We just have a clean start going up the hill. You see all the Sebeco start fanning out a bit, and as they enter those S's, those famous S's here, those Revolutions again with that PS1 category a little bit quicker, and we got some side-by-side action back in the pack. That looks like Goebel Newsom and possibly Sterling Hamilton going side-by-side. So somebody getting a little bit of heat in their tires early. It looks like feeling confident through that section.
And with the shade, there's so much shade, so the track temperature is going to probably go up about 20 degrees from now until the next probably hour and a half.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It should be a day in the upper 60s here in the Brazelton, Georgia area. We're about an hour north of Atlanta, just south of the South Carolina border. Pass coming up the inside here, Cal.
Yeah, and it looks like that might be Rafe Baskin possibly pulling off driver's right a little off the pace. So we'll see what happens there. And up front, a great battle there with Zach Mosley and John Field. Again, John, and as they come down the hill, he's taking a lunge up the inside. There we go.
Field making the move to the inside, makes it work through that very challenging turn 12, and Field is your new race leader.
Zach Mosley gave him the line there. I think Zach knew that he was coming up, and I don't know if John Field letting his tires warm up a little bit more, but here's the battle here as they come into Mission
there we
Foods.
go, 3 wide, heading down. It looks like Goebel Newsom up the inside, and wow, 2 for 1. Excellent move there as Sterling gets a little wide, manages to hang on there. Great racing.
The big loser in all that was Taylor. Taylor in the 20 lost about 3 positions in that one entrance into Mission Foods turn number 1.
That's right. Yes, and again, that Radical is a PS2 car. He's going to have a little bit more power than these Sebecos, but looks like Oh, and looks like we've got a car down pit lane. So I'm not sure.
Whoa, one off the track, gathers it back up here. That blue machine there, that's the 95 Mosley.
Oh, the 95A, so that one's going to be Sterling Hamilton.
Oh.
And still another little tire dropped off there. And that turn 7 was a tricky one yesterday for everybody, so Blackfield can hold on there. And again, as these tires come up to 10, you see the lap times tumble, but it's a great mid-pack battle right there in that PS3 field.
So there's the leader field. You can tell that by that flat. The Evo has that flat rear spoiler. I saw that with Ron Fletcher at Spring Mountain. Then the other Revolutions have that kind of reverse dihedral. And then these are the Sabecos here, the tin top cars. That's the Radical there, the number 20. But I don't fully know, and I should, the difference between PS1, PS2. Can you explain that to the audience?
Yeah, so PS1 really has a lot of cars that can run in it. Everything from the SR10s to, I believe even the Pragas can run. I don't know if we've seen any Pragas out here yet, but the Revolutions are primarily represented here in PS1. They're going to get a lot more power. They're a lot quicker. They are the fastest category. The PS2, you're going to see a lot more of those Radical, the Radical 1500s, the SR3 1500, which is the same chassis as the SR3 1340, just with a little bit more power, and that's where they end up. Oh, and there we go. Sterling has gone around. Oh, let's hope he can get out of there. Yeah. Possibly, he might be beached.
Yeah.
He's beached. It's hard to get out of there.
That's in an impact area, which means
Yep.
they will probably have to double yellow that one, but until then they're still racing.
So Madison just dove up the inside. He's a local here to Atlanta, and again Charlie Locklear out front of that pack there chasing down that Radical 1500.
And you could see even there, Ralph, just the changes in the sunlight, in the shade, and it's hard to even adjust the cameras because it's going from shade to sunlight like that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for a while as everything settles down. Newsom in the 99 right there, the red, black, and white.
Here comes the safety car, but who is this with the car with the orchids on the side of it? I like that.
So that is going to be Seth Henry. So he, as they come by here, you can see that crazy wrap job. Yes, it's I believe it was designed by his mom.
Okay.
And so it's going to be more of that golden color. So we look to see them as a series regular this year. And,
well, that's awesome.
He, again, was the series champion last year for the Ginetta Challenge, and he's also running Lamborghini Super Trofeo this year with Wyatt Foster out of that Kaizen camp. So
there's Ben's favorite car.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Z right there. Him and Michael Pritchard there. They're both local up near VIR and run at the club track there at VIR, and they're good friends and run together a bunch. So good to see them out here.
So they should be able to get the car out of the beach there at turn 5. And what that means is everything's going to back up. The tire temp is going to go down just slightly. But the pace car did not catch the leader. So I'm not sure if the pace car is going to go try to catch the leader. Now, sometimes the safety crew will unhook and let the car continue. And it just depends on how much gravel that car collected. But we do have a black flag out, so I think hopefully race control is going to try to reorganize everybody down in pit lanes so that the leader can actually take the green.
Yep, and this is going to be important because the feature race this year is going to have a tire contingency from Hankook. So last year it was just a series prize, but this year they're offering a tire contingency for the racers, and we're excited to see that. But that's going to be really crucial with those tires on the line to get this order right.
Plenty of gravel underneath the 95 right now as they pull them off the beach there.
And you can still see they're trying to keep heating those tires. Again, one of the best ways to do that is going to be under braking. So we saw a few of those lockups on the opening laps as everybody was trying that. We'll see. Looks like Sterling's going to get going. He's probably going to try and shake as much of that gravel out as possible.
Look at it all dropping out.
Yeah. And, yeah, luckily he's being a good sport. He's driving offline so
Yep.
that he can keep as much of that gravel off the racing line as possible. And you know, those splitters up front of the Sebeco is hollow, so a lot of that gravel can kind of collect in there. So he's going to try and shake that out a bit. But the good thing about these cars, if you end up in the kitty litter, is all the body panels come off. It's real easy to clean out, so you don't have to worry about too much of that. Again, it looks like the Revolutions have caught the back of the field, so we'll see as they come down pit lane where they reshuffle everybody and make sure we can get everybody where they need to be.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of fun to watch the reshuffling. I'm listening to race control in my right ear, and they're saying come down into pit lane, and then you can see the grid officials out there ready to kind of reshuffle them back into order. And hopefully the car that was in the beach isn't going to be dragging around a bunch of gravel, and we could probably get this thing back up and running pretty quickly.
Yep, and so Goebel Newsom, again, was our series champion last year, so he's leading the pack right in front of Seth Henry, that Kaizen Autosport car. Kaizen, again, has a huge field of Janettas, but they're also getting into the world of PSSA with us. And behind them, we've got the PS2 car of that Radical SR3 1500 as they pass by in front of us. I think I'd rather be in a closed cockpit today with it being as cold as it is.
Yeah. We were talking about warming up the tires. I think part of it is warming up the driver, right?
That's true. Yes, so the early generation of the car did not have it, and originally when we started racing with WRL, the light was added for visibility with the other GT cars, and so the early generations didn't have it built in, so some of the guys had to retroactively put that in. As you'll see on the 95A car as it passes by, that one was sort of added, versus if you look at the Kaizen car with Seth Henry, you'll see it's more built in. And so once that was something that was mandated by the series, then we found a way to make it as aerodynamic as possible.
I think it's kind of a cool idea to really make things more visible as you're working your way through the field, right?
It is, and a lot of the guys really enjoy it. In fact, PSSA this year is now requiring a front-facing light of some kind, whether it's going to be whether it's headlights or a top light, something that's going to help with that visibility, just so that when we're interacting with those vintage cars with the other classes, again, it just helps with that visibility.
So you can see them sweeping there at 7. Now we're trying to rearrange the order. You see Chelsea Miller there over in the right with the pink hat. That's our grid chief, so she's putting John Fields up front, doing a pretty good job because there's not a lot of room to get these cars around there, but it looks like they've got them. There's Skip Clark. There's Ben Ramirez. So it looks like everything is working. I didn't know if I have any of my punk rock fans out there that noticed my Black Flag logo at Black Flag. That was pretty prominent. See if any punk rock fans are out there that can quote us some Black Flag songs. But, yeah, we like to have some fun here. So I put that on that Black Flag sign just to see who noticed. So there are a few punk rock fans in our paddock. I like that.
And so, Cal, there's probably some folks watching this PSSA racing this morning who maybe have never experienced it before, seeing the cars, you know, recognizing how cool they look, how much fun they must be to drive. If I was intrigued in getting involved in this category of racing, A, what would be the ladder up to it? What's the proper way to get to it? And then B, what am I looking at cost-wise?
So we see a variety of people come into the car. Usually it's not their first ever race car. Funny enough, we get a lot of people coming from Caymans, you know, GT4 based cars. It's a similar lap time, just produced differently. We also get guys coming up from, you know, the lower formula ranks. Even Sterling Hamilton in that 95A came from SCCA with the FE2. And, you know, we see people who are from that single-seater route that'll make the jump over, and they're trying to progress to, you know, let's say, LMP3 or 2 and go the IMSA route, as well as, you know, again, Seth Henry out there coming from the Janetta class over, looking for another similar spec series. Cost-wise, the cars start about $100,000 and go up a little bit from there based on different options that you can put on the car. And really, while the upfront cost is a little higher than most people might think for that car, it's the operating expenses that are really low. We're able to to run these tires a long time. And we run 93 pump gas, so you're not putting race fuel into the engine. It's a very long intervals on the gearbox, the engine, so it's a very low operating expense.
They're very reliable.
That shot right there gives you a great look at the Revolution, as that halo system on the Revolution is different than what many folks are used to seeing with halos in IndyCar and Formula One these days, where the bar is straight down the center. I kind of like those 2 bars off to the sides a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Seems like it gives you more visibility.
It definitely gives you more of that A pillar or something you might be more standard. And, you know, again, you see those helmets. Those guys, they'll run very, very nice helmets when you're in those open cockpit cars to make sure that nothing coming up from the track, like any of those rocks from the gravel trap or anything coming up, you want to make sure you've got those ABP helmets. 8860s are great, which is the same standard that they use in Formula One.
If you're willing to buy yourself a new set of tires, Ben, get the better helmet.
Yeah, I think Bell would always say, get a $10 helmet for your $10 head.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
how much is your head worth?
You know what's great with that Bell thing is, if people aren't familiar with SVRA, they do that golden helmet, which is always something that the drivers are going for. You can see that beautiful 7-Up car.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. Dr. Z there.
And the Tic Tac, like you were saying, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, very familiar if you're a Formula One fan to Eddie Jordan's first edition race cars with Michael Schumacher.
It looks like they might have stalled it possibly.
So is Sebeco still making these cars?
Yes.
How often, like how many are you rolling out?
We can do about 15 to 20 a year.
Wow.
They are hand built to spec, and from there, once we build them, again, we are located right down the street. We are at every PSSA race providing trackside support, so not just parts support, but technical support as well. And
A little different with the cup cars off to the right. The prototypes are rolling by.
Mark Clark, our SVRA entry into this, was last year's champion. So he's out there in the 5A S2. And these S2s, they don't look in this series. Like they look like
Yeah.
but there were some cars out there that, like the Group 9 Indy Lights car, that did look a little bit different. But you can see there from the drone the shadows, and the shadows are going to be changing, and the track temperature is just going to be drastically changing throughout the day.
It's going to be changing in this booth as well, because that sun that's coming up to our left is suddenly going to go right across the front of this booth, and there's going to be a cooker in here this afternoon.
And it does look like Charlie Locklear in that 100 was able to get back fired. He may actually have a little bit of an advantage on the start, because he's going to be trying to catch that field, getting a little bit more heat into his tires. So we'll check and see how he comes through at the start. But again, these guys, really the best thing to do is just use those brakes, try to get as much heat into the brake system to heat up the tire from the inside out.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize is it's going back and forth is good, but the brakes actually heat the wheel that heats the tire quicker.
Correct. So,
But they're coming to green, I think, here. Yeah, Ralph, they're coming to green.
Sure are. Pace car is off, and we are back into the throttle. Here we come, screaming out of turn number 12, up the front straightaway. Oh, we're going to have a challenge for the lead. Leader's going to lose 2 spots going into Mission Foods turn number 1. Cal, he struggled all of a sudden about halfway down the front straightaway.
yeah, I'm not sure what happened there for him, but John.
It happened on last start as
yeah,
well.
John might just be in the wrong gear for that start, but it is a chance for him to run back through those cars up front. Looks like Goebel had a good jump in the PS3 class, but Seth Henry has closed that gap up already, and we'll see that battle for the lead for those guys continue to shake out.
And with that being in a new car for John Fields, maybe he's just not totally familiar with what's going to happen with the tire temperatures, and he did come in, so he may be making a good move of just kind of playing it safe and letting everything feel good for him. Because going into turn 1, Mission Foods turn 1 here, it does get a little bit hairy.
And he did have a mechanical at the end of the race yesterday. Didn't quite find out what happened there, but he may be a little bit down on power right now, so he's definitely dropped back. And Zach Mosley is back out in front, running hard, and Chris right behind him is keeping him honest. And I believe Chris was actually the series champion for PSSA last year. He runs a lot of these events in that Revolution, and it does appear as though John is pulling into pit lane. So
Yeah.
not sure what happened there, but
Well, that's a shame. He was certainly quick. You know, watching these Revolutions, especially coming down through the Cube 3 architecture S's here at Road Atlanta, boy, you can just, yes, they're smaller, but you can kind of remember back to the days of Can-Am here at Road Atlanta, and you can imagine Fulmer and Donahue and Hurley just ripping down through there, and what that must have been like.
And right there, Madison Prince in that Sebeco is really pushing Keith hard. You see Keith's just wiggling around a little bit. We do produce a little bit more downforce than those guys, so as those tires heat up, hopefully Keith will get back up to pace where he should be. But Madison's really driving hard, keeping him on his toes there.
What engine platform is in a Sebeco?
So we run a 2-liter Mazda MZR motor, which is out of the NC Miatas, and it's got a mild build done by Chris over here at Elan Power Sports. And so the engines are all sealed, keep everybody even. And
Good for how many races?
You know, you can go multiple seasons. Last year, the guy,
before rebuild.
Oh yes, we had the series champ for NASA last year. I think was somewhere around almost 250 hours on his engine, and won the NASA championship with it.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
We typically see a little bit of a dip in power around 150 hours, but that's still a lot of runtime.
Yeah.
So again, these cars do well in the endurance series. They're kind of overbuilt for that.
But that is something to consider when you're looking at building or buying a race car, that maybe your entry point may be a little bit higher than you're comfortable with, but then your race budget goes way down.
It's going to be more manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see technically that LMP3, the JSP 315s, the Ginetta G58s. A lot of those cars are eligible for the PS1 category, and the used price of those LMP3 cars are coming down, especially with the new JSP 325 coming out. But while the upfront cost may be similar to those LMP3s, it's the operating expense that really makes a big difference.
Zach Mosley still ahead of Chris Hinojosa. We have Mark Clark back there, our lone SVRA entrant. But they're coming down into Mission Foods Turn 1, and I'm hearing white flag next time by on our leader currently on the board.
And he has opened up a pretty healthy lead, almost 7 seconds now over Hinojosa.
And you see the line that Zach takes through there. He doesn't really track out wide left. That's all that downforce is going to give him a lot of grip through there, and he's going to hug right so that he can straighten up that entry into the braking zone for turn 2, 3, and really exaggerate that entry to straighten it up. So again, these downforce cars may not track out as wide as you may see with like a Global MX-5 Cup car or something, and that's just to straighten up that braking zone as much as possible.
Yeah, we will see a lot of tracking out in our next group of stock cars, Group 6, Group 10. So right now we're seeing some downforce cars. Now there's Seth Henry in the Orchid car, and he is in second in the Sebecos. Is that correct? Because you do have your own championship within this championship.
That is correct. So we treat our championship sort of like a Bronze Cup in IMSA, where we run with PS3, and
Whoa,
little lock up there,
For
and
Henry.
good recovery there. And I know that not a lot of laps remaining. I believe on the board it's saying 6, but we see the white flag coming out right here for Zach Mosley.
Yep, there it is. One more tour around the 2.54 mile circuit here at Road Atlanta.
And again, Zach taking that exaggerated line to the right-hand side. And that seems to be working really well for him there. It does look like the track temps are starting to come up as these guys, the lap times continue to fall. Still not quite where they were qualifying-wise, but Seth Henry is closing in on Goebel. This is going to be a great great battle to the finish here, as just about 2 car lengths separate them as they go up the hill out of turn 1.
Mosley getting ready to come out of 7 and start making his way back out to the finish line. After that long back stretch here. It kind of winds through the countryside here.
And this is such a critical turn right there. Turn 5 at Road Atlanta, especially in these cars. It's a long run, especially up that hill. You don't realize how steep that hill out of 5 is. But turn 6 has just enough of a braking zone to get underneath somebody, so it's really critical to get a good run there.
It's about a 100+ foot climb up that hill. Here's the checkered flag waiting for Mosley. You see him coming off at 12. Checkered flag, and the win goes to Mosley. Hinojosa, we're just waiting for him to make his way into view, coming out of under the bridge. There he comes. It's a healthy gap between first and second, and just a handful.
But where are the Sebecos? Because this is the close one right here.
There we go. That's the last real opportunity. It looks like he's going to be just a little bit too far back, but wow, what a close battle. There might even be just a hair of damage on the right side of Goebel's car. You see that floor with just a little bit of piece hanging off. Great run here to the finish. Goebel's able to hang on under the checkered flag. Well done to both of those guys. And they are right now neck and neck in our championship for the Sebeco championship. They were both down at Sebring and ran. Oh, it looks like Madison Prince has pulled off on the last lap. He was in that final podium spot, which gives it, I believe that's going to promote Harry Colson onto the podium again. He was a series regular for us, last season. And I'm not quite sure if Madison knew he was in that final spot as he came into pit lane.
You were talking about Can-Am here, and Phil Manson was here at the first race with Tony Dean in that Porsche. Beat all the McLarens, which was a crazy race. We have a video of that on our SVRA YouTube page, the 1970 Can-Am ground pounders with Formula Vs of all things.
Yes.
But here's our results, Ralph.
Zach Mosley, Chris Hinojosa, Goebel Newsom, Seth Henry, and Keith Taylor rounding out the top 5, with Goebel Newsom taking the win in the Sebeca class.
Yeah, and that's great for Goebel and Seth. This is going to keep that championship alive. We run 6 race weekends for our championship series, and we are excited. It's a dual race weekend every weekend, so 12 races total for us, and they seem to be swapping those wins back and forth. Guys, thank you so much for having me up here. I'm going to get down and as always, I appreciate the invite and look forward to seeing you guys.
Great seeing you, Cal. Take care. All right. We've got more racing coming your way here shortly from Road Atlanta. As the stock cars are getting ready to roll out, there's a Casey Kane, Ray Evernham, number 9.
This is going to be fun. You know, I love having these guys here. The historic stock car group.
This was the race 4, just on the warm-up lap. Trying to heat those tires up, and this one got pretty interesting pretty quick. Some good battles deeper in the field in the early stages. Watch this pass on the front straightaway here. Man, this was pretty nice move up the inside. And then the off-track excursion kept it going.
Yeah, you don't want to go this off there.
No, then the spin off into the beach.
That poor Radical was in the thick of it all race long.
Yeah, sure was.
Cool shots from the drone here over the S's, but This is now going to be the SVRA Group 6 10 12A race. We've got a lot of the historic stock cars here with us. I have not yet seen our friend Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, Georgia, join us. He's usually here with this group. But we've got Jack Finch. There's Wolsifer, Rick Wolsifer, and that 2014 Chevrolet Camaro, the Howe chassis. Then the Boss 302. That is my son's favorite vintage car there. That is
a beautiful car.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, take care of some business, and when we come back, these guys will be out on the track, ready to go racing. Stay with us.
How good is this? Look at this view from Losowski.
It brings all my fans, it brings the audience into the car with me.
Speed turn, 140-mile-an-hour entry speeds.
The quickest and most efficient way for me to get information to my drivers is from using the V-Box HD2 system.
Said.
One of the ways you overtake here at Sebring is really good in the braking zone, like this one right here.
Both go around. There's the green. We are back and at it. Watch this. Oh, look out, Miller, look
Welcome back to Road Atlanta, getting ready to go with our next class of cars here. And we've got another handful of groups out here, Ben.
Yeah, this is SVRA split grid for race 2, Group 6, Group 10, 12A, and our historic stock cars. So the historic stock cars look like they're going to go out first, and then we're going to do a split class. So there's Ricky Bobby with the Fig Newtons on the windshield. You gotta like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie. So we've got Jack Finch starting up front in the number 40 Dodge Charger. Starting second in that Rusty Wallace car. The 1993 Pontiac Grand Prix is Jeff Rocco. Third is Ryan Thompson in a 2006 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Scott Frazier is in that Car of Tomorrow 2008 Dodge Charger. The Casey Kane car, I believe. Brent Bernath is in the 2006 Ford Fusion. Carlos Gann in that 1987 $1 million Bill Elliott Ford Thunderbird. Victor Corda is in a 2009 Ford Mustang. Mark Gobble in the 2006 Dodge Charger. Terry Mathis. This is where we split it, actually. So that's it for the stock car. Now we split it. So Group 10 GT is Terry Mathis in 9th. John Gray is in a Porsche 991. Derek Carter in a Ford Mustang GT 500 of 2000, year 2000. Stephen Thomas is in a Porsche Cayman. Rick Wolsifer in that 2014 Howe TA2 car. Renee Tersilla in a 2017 Ford Mustang FP350. Kurt Vogt in that beautiful Boss 302, Tim Bowder in a Ford FP350S, Paul Toombs in a Chevrolet Camaro SS, the 1967 white Chevrolet Camaro, Dan Schlickenmeyer in a 2007 Ford Mustang, Bruce Raymond in his TA2 car with the snake eyes, Chris Boutier in a 2014 Ford Mustang Boss 302, Mark Sandridge in his Porsche Cup car, and Steve Yarborough in that beautiful 66 Chevrolet Corvette. It's quite a eclectic group of cars out there.
It really is, and unfortunately, I don't think all of the NASCAR machinery made the call. I don't see the Elliott car anywhere. And then there's 2 Rusty Wallace number 2s here this weekend, and only the Pontiac is out, not the Dodge.
So Ricky Bobby pulling right up there next to Rusty Wallace. Who's the 40 car?
Sterling Marlin.
Sterling Marlin. Awesome. Here they come.
Tennessee's Sterling Marlin, whose dad had one of the all-time greatest names, Cuckoo. Green flag, and we're racing here at Road Atlanta. Here comes our second wave, coming through Mission turns 10A and 10B. We'll be popping out under the bridge here momentarily, and they'll be underway. Here they come. That pace car exits as well. Corvette on the inside, Porsche on the outside. Oh, and the Corvette spins, coming off a 12 and into the wall, back into traffic. Oh, no. Well, issues here on the front straightaway as they're having to clean up that situation. I don't know, Ben, if you just maybe tires weren't warm enough coming down the hill and got on the throttle and around.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. And it is kind of slick there on the inside lane.
Yeah.
And the Corvette hit and just kind of came across the track. Safety crews are out there right now.
All right, well, while they take care of that, we're going to go ahead and step away and take care of some business so that when we're ready to go back to racing, we can show you every lap. Stay with us.
Under acceleration, it's very difficult to stop in time to avoid the car. So a situation here on the front straightaway.
Yes! Hon, the WeatherTech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race-proven and street legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
How good is this? Look at this view from Losowski.
It brings all my fans, it brings the audience into the car with me.
Speed turn 140-mile-an-hour entry speeds. The quickest and most efficient way for me to get information to my drivers is from using the VBOX HD2 system.
Said.
One of the ways you overtake here at Sebring is really good in the braking zone, like this one right here.
Both go around. There's the green. We are back and at it. Watch this. Oh, look out. Miller, look out.
The NOLA Speed Tour returns to NOLA Motorsports Park March 28th through the 30th, featuring the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association with SVRALife, Formula Regional Americas, F4 U.S. Championship, Ligier JSF4, and the Optimus Search for the Ultimate Street Car. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lap. You do not want to miss the NOLA Speed Tour March 28th through the 30th. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
Architecture is about everything. We change the environment. We are changing how people live in the environment today. So we basically put our fingerprint on the future of what the United States looks like. My overall business philosophy is that I'm engaged with my company from top to bottom, and I think the racing world and helping out the next generation and younger drivers is a passion of mine, and it's getting stronger and stronger every year. With that, that's why I want to be involved.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, all for less than a set of race tires. Haggerty, let's drive together.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Yes. Hon, the WeatherTech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race-proven and street-legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
How good is this? Look at this view from Losowski.
It brings all my fans, it brings the audience into the car with me.
Speed turn 140-mile-an-hour entry speeds. The quickest and most efficient way for me to get information to my drivers is from using the VBox HD2 system.
score is set.
One of the ways you overtake here at Sebring is really good in the braking zone, like this one right here.
Both go around. There's the green. We are back and at it. Watch this. Oh, look out, Miller, look out.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Hagerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, all for less than a set of race tires. Hagerty, let's drive together.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Architecture is about everything. We change the environment. We are changing how people live in the environment today. So we basically put our fingerprint on the future of what the United States looks like. My overall business philosophy is that I'm engaged with my company from top to bottom. And I think the racing world and helping out the next generation and younger drivers is a passion of mine, and is getting stronger and stronger every year. With that, that's why I want to be involved.
The NOLA SpeedTour returns to NOLA Motorsports Park March 28th through the 30th, featuring the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association with SVRALife, Formula Regional Americas, F4 U.S. Championship, Ligier JSF4, and the Optimus Search for the Ultimate Street Car. Saturday, you can take part in the Hagerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lap. You do not want to miss the NOLA SpeedTour March 28th through the 30th. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy-to-make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Yes. Hon, the WeatherTech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Getting set to get this one back underway here, Ben. Our historic stock car racing machines have made their way out onto the track, and the rest of the field in the second wave behind them.
I'm here from Race Control. We are going to do a split start. I want to correct myself because Carlos Gann earlier in the weekend was in the Bill Elliott Ford, but he is back in that Ricky Rudd Ford Thunderbird.
That's the Motorcraft number 15.
So it looks like Jack Finch and that Sterling Marlin car is out there. Jeff Rocco and the Rusty Wallace, Ryan Thompson, Scott Frazier, Brent Bernath, Carlos Gann, Victor Corda, and Mark Gobble. Then this is our second group. So I saw Renee Tercilla. There's Bruce Raymond. Chris Boutier in the 2014 Boss. Coming for the second startup group. It was nice of Road Atlanta to give us that second safety car, pace car, for these split starts. Rusty Wallace off to the left there. Jeff Rocco at turn 2, turn 3. Looks like with just a mechanical.
Yep.
But that's not a very safe place to be. That's a pretty blind area.
That was a Penske era Pontiac. Of course, when he won his championship, did that with Blue Max Racing. Green flag in our second wave of cars, and they're on their way to Mission Foods. Turn number 1.
Renee Tercilla there in the white Mustang. Bruce Raymond, Kurt Vogt. And Tim Bowder going up the hill. Being led by Stephen Thomas in that Porsche Cayman. Rick Wolsifer just behind, going through the Cube 3 S's. And then there's that big Mustang GT 500 2020 of Derek Carter. So we've got a Mustang battle happening back here at the Cube 3. Bruce Raymond on the inside. Renee Tercilla in the white Mustang behind the 24 of Derek Carter. Bruce Raymond in that TA2 car.
Just pick your favorite era, right?
Yeah. Then here comes a Boss 302. That's got to be my favorite era of Kurt Vogt with Cobra Automotive. Stephen Thomas out there with IGT, International GT, and SVRA, getting all this the time. Renee Tercilla making a pass on Derek Carter. Renee and Derek, two very similar cars, but also very different. You've got a GT 500 versus a FP350, but Rene Tercilla using a little bit more nimble car to get around that GT500.
Did a nice job with that. And here comes that Boss 302 in the background.
Rene Tercilla collected more points in SVRA than any other driver last season.
That's quite an accomplishment, isn't it?
Yeah, he came to a lot of races. His wife and team owner came to a lot of the races, and then their mechanic Scott, who won our Mechanic of the Year with SVRA. Here comes Kurt Vogt, the president of the Shelby Club, also a avid model train collector. Here they come into turn 7. Rene Tercilla, Derek Carter with that 500 right behind him, a beautiful car. And now these are two friends, Bruce Raymond and Wolsifer. They always paddock next to each other. So let's see what happens. Chevy versus Camaro coming into turn 10. It's Mark Gobble.
Comes the Fastenal car. That was a Carl Edwards car back in the day. And that was a Nationwide Series car, Ben. What is now known as the Xfinity Series.
Here we go. They're going to get the white flag. These two friends must have. There's Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. And then Rene Tercilla and Derek Carter getting after it.
Would you be more interested in a Talladega Nights 2 or a Days of Thunder 2?
Probably Talladega Nights.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Can't say you're wrong.
But I'd be happy with either. You know what? I didn't think I'd like the Maverick, the Top Gun 2. I was like, too much time has passed, and I loved it.
And they did a great job.
Yeah.
They sure did.
And I loved that the thing that I didn't think they'd poke fun of, but they kind of poked fun at, his age and everything. So I like that. Wolsifer still ahead of Bruce Raymond, as Casey Kane just went under. They're coming up on their last lap. We're having trouble, ladies and gentlemen, with our video is a little bit frozen here.
There it goes. Back at it, watching that Mustang battle. Headed out onto the backstretch here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, get a change.
He's got the power. Derek Carter has that 500 over the 350. So let's see, is Rene Tercilla going to try to outbrake him? What do you think?
Well, they're both working the areas that their cars are going to excel at, but it's going to be the power down the back straightaway that makes the difference here. See them pop up into view here in just a second as they're headed down the hill now. That's the 31 of Wolsifer.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry we're having some trouble with our monitors up here. So we're going to only be able to call what we're seeing out the window. But Sterling Marlin and Ricky Bobby coming across the line pretty closely.
Yeah, that had been a huge gap, and guessing Finch at the end just kind of eased out of it. He had basically almost the full length of the front straightaway at one point in the race. And in that Sterling Marlin 40 is actually a Darrell Waltrip Racing chassis with the Sterling Marlin body put on top of it.
So the checkered flag is out. Chris Boutillier. Now we're looking at Kurt Vogt in that Cobra Automotive Boss 302. Beautiful car. There's about 6 people in our paddock that are trying to buy that car.
Well, depending on how I do, I check those Powerball numbers, there might be 7.
That grabber blue. Love that shade of blue with Ford.
It's stunning, isn't it?
The Ricky Rudd car. Boutillier. So Derek Carter did get the best of Rene Tercilla.
backflip, Carl Edwards.
From, I think, Columbia, Missouri.
Yep.
Scott Frazier was our SVRA Driver of the Year in that Casey Kane car tomorrow. So congratulations to him. He's won many championships in SVRA Group 1 and is Austin Healy Kermit the Frog Eye Sprite. But here's our results.
Finch, Thompson, Frazier, Bernath, and Gann, your top 5. Corda, Thomas, Raymond, Wolsifer, and Tursilla round out the top 10. As you take a look through the rest of the finishing order, down to Schlickenmeyer in 18th and Derek Carter. We're going to have an open wheel category coming up next here, Ben.
Yeah, the F1600s with FRP Formula Race Promotions harkens back to the vintage days of Formula Ford. So that's going to be a really fun race. Dustin Hodges with a Rive and Drive program is going to come up here and help us out, because these are a lot of drivers that we just don't know, but it's some of the best racing of the weekend. And there's 2 classes. There's the 1600 class, and there's a Masters class, which hopefully Dustin can tell us the age, because a lot of these drivers are 14 to 16 years old. So I'd like to know, in that kind of an age group, where the Masters are at.
Well, we're going to take a quick break while we get the stock cars and the rest of our last race off the track, and we'll be rolling the open wheel machines here shortly. You won't miss a thing. Stay with us.
The NOLA Speed Tour returns to NOLA Motorsports Park March 28th through the 30th, featuring the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association with SVRALife, Formula Regional Americas, F4 U.S. Championship, Ligier JSF4, and the Optimus Search for the Ultimate Street Car. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lab. You do not want to miss the NOLA Speed Tour March 28th through the 30th. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Hon, the WeatherTech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race proven and street legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance, priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Well, if you're a fan of open wheel racing, Ben, here we go. Good way to start your Sunday.
I really like this class. They've joined us a few times, and we've gotten to live stream them. Unfortunately, we didn't find out until late that we were going to live stream this race, so we didn't get to do our due diligence as commentators to go talk to the drivers, but we will have a guest up here, Dustin Hodges, who is with the FRP series and has his own Arrive and Drive program. But he's come up and joined us in the booth a lot. He has a lot of knowledge, but let's just kind of run down as the order that they were going out in. So these are the F1600s. Like I said, this harkens back to the days of Formula Fords. This is a racer's class. The cars are built to a certain spec and some unbelievable racing. Last lap, you want to be about third in a string of cars going into turn 7 and use that draft to take the lead. But we've got Roman McCurdy in first, Dylan DeFont second, David H. Livingston third, Carson DeFont fourth, David Adorno fifth, Arten Kahan in sixth, Gabriel Kahan in seventh, Joe Calasaco is our second in the Masters in eighth, Scott Rubenzer is Masters in ninth. We had David Adorno in fifth as the other Masters. Chase Sipley is in 10th. John P. Dole, 11th. Wesley Gundler in 12th. Chris Kearse in 13th. Cooper Travis, 14th. Juan Pablo Garcia, what a great racing name, in 15th. 16th is Michael Scanlon. Gary Gesselter is 17th in Masters. Bob Reed is 18th. Miles Crabble in 19th. Greg Peluso, 20th. 21st is John Kearse, and 22nd, Abigail Froelich. So quite a group of cars. They're trying to get the heat into those Hoosier tires. Hopefully Dustin can also tell us the tire rule. I remember we had a tire rule. We had a guest commentator with us at Road America last year who happened to be the father of the winning driver. So that was pretty exciting. But I see Dustin Hodges moving in now. And we're going to go to green here, Dustin, but we're going to need your insight. But we've got, I'm Ben Sissel. The legend Ralph Shaheen is going to take us to green, and then Dustin's going to fill us in on some of the facts.
I'm going to get Dustin turned on over there. Hey, Dustin, how are you?
Hey, guys, how are you? Sorry I'm a little out of breath.
Here we go. Come to green, down the hill out of 12, looking for the flag. Smooth run out of 12. Everybody clean to the green, and we're headed to Mission Foods, turn number 1, Dustin.
This is such an exciting group of kids. They're about half the field are rookies in this thing. It's every year you have to learn new names for all of this stuff.
We also have the Masters class in F1600 too. You can't forget about them. But what a great driver development series. A lot of wheel-to-wheel time with these drivers. And Dustin, the F1600 class has made some pretty big names in racing.
Oh, it's probably the longest list of success stories of any Formula car group out there. I mean, you can go back to the 80s and talk about Senna and Schumacher and all those guys, but yeah, I mean, even recent names like Newgarden and stuff come out of this, and they've all done really, really well. And actually, you've got a kid here in second who went to driver school not but a month ago, and he was on pole this weekend, doing a great job. Yeah, I think that's DeFont's out in front there.
So Dylan DeFonce out in front in the number 45. Yeah, we don't have grid sheets. That's
got one off here in the 31X.
Scott Rubenser. That's a 31.
31,
That's the new Hoosier logo. Yeah. But they're coming down into Mission Foods turn 12, and like normal, they're going basically 2 to 3 wide here.
My buddy Irish Saunders, who just retired from Hoosier, will be calling me later to scream at me over that.
Roman McCurdy right behind Dylan DeFonce, and I think David Livingston. But look at this train, and we've seen this train so many times, Dustin, and there's advantages and disadvantages. But right now, Dylan DeFonce takes the lead, but in this kind of racing, he knows that will disappear very quickly.
Well, I think, and that's that lead pack's goal, is to take 4, 5, 6 guys and run away with it early in the race and separate themselves from the pack. That way they can have their own race and they don't have to deal with it. I think you'll see that now. The guys are going to be a little patient the first half of this race. And you see Karsten, and in second place there, that's Roman McCurdy. He was in driver school a month ago.
Wow. How old are some of these drivers? I see them in their race suits in the paddock, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes, it's definitely probably one of the younger classes. There's, I believe, 14 is the age. It used to be 16, and they've lowered it a little bit. And it's, you walk around the paddock, and Ben, as we become the more mature gentlemen in the paddock, the kids look younger and younger every year.
Once they're younger than my kids, it's like, oh, this is a whole new era.
When drivers I raced against in the past I started seeing their kids coming through, it really gave me a reality check.
So
looks
there's
like we're going double yellow.
It was only a matter of time since that car wasn't going to be able to move, and it was in an impact zone.
Yeah, the cars were coming straight at it. But from a driver development standpoint, and I work a lot with Scott Goodyear, who's so good with driver development in our FRF4 series, but it's seat time. And this F1600 series gives them a lot of seat time on equal machinery. So not only are you getting seat time, but you're able to measure yourself against the other drivers because they are to such a spec.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, you have multiple makes in this series. They do a very good job of keeping it very tight and close. And yes, the driver, you get 3 races a weekend in 1600. So as far as developing racecraft, these kids are learning at a very aggressive rate. And it puts them in a position to step up into pretty much any series after this. I mean, the kids move from this into F4, USF, GT cars in IMSA, SRO. I mean, it's across the board. They develop the skills to really be front row drivers in a lot of other series.
We talk about this a lot, and we've seen, reading the comments section, like how much fun would it be to watch the 20 on the grid at Formula One all have to get into equal machines like this. Who do you think would come out ahead? Who has the talent in something like this?
Well, I think the world might agree with me on this, but I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate out of Italy. But I think there's only one driver that's ever been actually built to be a Formula One driver. And I don't think Max, I think Max is just on another level of anybody else. You put him in, you put the F1 field in these cars, I think it's going to be similar to that. But I would love to see him and Lewis Hamilton fight, in the same cars in the same day, and that's what this series gives you. You have multiple teams across the paddock that are all prepping their cars to similar levels, but you have drastically different approaches. You can go look at the cars and you'll see different camber settings, you'll see different ride height settings, you'll see rig settings, different noses, different aero packages, and yet they're all right there within a tenth of a second. So it really leans to a driver's class regardless of all of that. The draft in this, you can't run away. So no matter what you do and what engine cover and nose and all this you play with, it's all more vanity than anything else, I think. It's just all about that right foot and that steering wheel and what you can do with it.
What are the tire rules? I know that the Hoosier provides great tires for these cars, but is there an amount of sets you get per weekend?
Yes, and they're different across the FRP series. I believe that 1600 is 6 tires per weekend. So not sets, 6 tires. So that is the same rule for F2000. And yeah, they
are the front and rear same size?
They are not. Now here there is actually a rule that you cannot run the front tires on the rear of the car. Now, if we know about racing, there's only rules get created because somebody did it. Mm-hmm. So that must mean that it would be more fun that way, I guess.
There's a smoky eunuch somewhere in this paddock.
Exactly.
And then you run those crazy things like Nathan Bird was running, and you're also running the Porsche that was in the last group. But Your company, what are those things? They sound amazing. They're tiny, and
Yes.
they're way too fast.
So they're 200 horsepower, and they weigh 1,000 pounds with the driver in them. Ralph just gave me a weird look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm running the math in my head. I'm going, huh?
Yes. So they're 1,000 cc superbike engines, and they run in Formula Atlantic, and they're rocket ships. They're little rocket ships.
Is it a Yamaha engine?
We run the Suzuki. You can run
Suzuki.
Cowies, Yamaha.
Jesus.
They're 6-speed sequentials. They're a lot of fun. It's one of the next steps after 1600. Kids can come out of this, jump into that, and it's a way to learn the wings, learn development, learn downforce. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And like you said, the Porsche, we were running an IGT, and that's a blast as well. And yeah, I can't seem to stay busy enough. So it's I'm running 6 cars and 7 drivers this weekend, and I thought, why not come up here and spend 30 minutes with you guys?
Yeah, we're Facebook friends, and you're where I'm every other weekend. You're every weekend.
We run 30 weeks a year. Yeah.
And if you could find more events, you'd
I would
add
do
to
it. My girlfriend
sure.
and I were talking about it the other day. She said, if you could run 52 weekends a year, you would do it, wouldn't you? I said,
Well, your driver did
yeah,
that once.
He did,
so
actually.
Nathan Bird, who
I
ran
know
with a
Nathan
really
very
good
well.
driver.
Yeah.
There was one year that he picked every weekend, right?
We followed the
ran
whole thing on
100
Speed Sport with him.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a whole series on that.
Yeah, they ran 137 races in one year.
Yep, and a wide variety of race cars.
Yeah, this
Nathan
weekend he was in the truck on Friday night in Miami.
Yeah.
And then flew here on Saturday morning and then put the car on pole in Atlantic at, noon.
Yeah, Nathan is trying to fast track his way to Indy, right?
Yes. So hopefully we can get this cleaned up here and go back racing. These guys look, I know they're antsy for this race. They've the first 2 have been really exciting. This weekend, I know a lot of these kids are anxious. The paddock has been abuzz with all the new faces and all the excitement. But it's looking like they're having a hard time getting Rubenzer out of the trap.
Yeah, he's back, though. He went through pit lane.
Okay, there we go. So we should be good
Dana
soon.
D is saying, let's go Team DeFont. So we do have some fans watching this. Every year there seem to be a couple of DeFonces. There's always somebody named Ayrton. You know when you've got some racing fans when they're named after. Like we've had some Sterlings and some
I got
Ayrtons.
a dog named Mario.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's
Puppy.
awesome.
That tracks.
So that's a pun right there. That tracks.
Right.
So the lights are out in the Ginetta. Ralph Shaheen is going to bring us to the green, and Dustin's going to fill us in on all the things. It's very tough when you don't know the series, but the racing is so good.
Well, the first thing they're going to do is work on that downforce of whatever they can get out of these cars coming down the hill into 12. As our Ginetta pace car pulls off, here they come. In the highest elevation point, downhill, single file. Now they're looking for the green as they come out of 12. There it is, and we're racing once again. Oh, one car off.
Oh, there we go.
Into the barrier.
I was about to say that was the cleanest start we'd had all weekend, and then there we go.
And that's going to bring out a yellow right away because that is most definitely an impact zone.
It's like they may let them run to the back half before they throw it out. There's still green down there at turn 1.
Yeah, but if he's not gone by the time they get
they can't let him come down the hill there like that.
And he doesn't look like he's moving at all.
I can see the Flagtronics boards flashing yellow.
So yeah, it looks like this, the old adage of you can't win a race at lap 1, it seems like maybe this race is the opposite of that. DeFont is able to keep this lead here and just keep staying at the front turn 1.
Keep rolling under yellow.
Yeah, that's the one thing I love about this group, though, is that, you talked about the Masters class, Ben, and that's...
So the Flagtronics boards are flashing, but the
there it is.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, Dustin.
Oh, you're good, man. I thought we were going back green already. Yeah, so you see, I think 3rd place there, I believe that is...
Livingston?
David Living, one of the Masters classes. So you've got the guy running right up front that's part of the Masters class. So those people think Masters, those guys are the back of the field. It's the older. No, it's just an age thing. Age doesn't necessarily slow you down. It just puts you in a different category.
And what is the age for Masters in this?
I believe it's 35 or 40.
That's right, because I remember I was
sure.
speaking to my friend Gary Gesselter, who's in this group in the Masters, and I was asking him and he said it was like 35 or 40 because Trans Am is 60.
Oh, okay.
So, and that just kind of shows the difference in the racing groups.
Sadly, I've cleared that 35 to 40 barrier with plenty of room in between. Let's take an opposite approach to that. You said a lot of these kids are as young as 14. I've seen some kids nowadays in pro late models, for example, that are 12, which I got to tell you, it seems insane to me. But one reason why it seems much more insane over there is because you're talking about putting a kid in a very high horsepower car, very fast speeds, racing against, there's usually only one 12-year-old in the field and everybody else is 20, 30, 40, whatever it might be.
With big egos.
Big egos, different brains. I mean, at 12, your brain ain't nowhere near being developed enough to process the emotions and things that are going on. But here, if you've got quite a few of those kids from, say, 17 to 14, even though that's a big difference, that to me is much different than a 12-year-old racing against a ton of 40-year-olds.
Absolutely. I mean, that's and you see, you know, the little mistakes here and there, and same thing in F4 and some of the other, you know, developmental series. It's when you get them all out there together, yeah, they seem to all kind of make the similar mistakes, and they're used to each other. They all came out of karting together. They do this and that. And yeah, in the late model world, where you throw a kid with the right last name that's 12 years old into a group with a Cars Tour or late models or something, and yeah, it can be interesting. And it's I think it's across the board. It's personally, I think it should be on an individual basis. You can't really do that because then you're discriminating age or whatever. But some 12-year-olds, I think, are ready for Craftsman trucks.
Brent
but
Cruz at
some
12
12-year-olds aren't ready for go-karts. And so I think it's as a parent, I think you have to be really on that. And just like any other sport, if your kid's playing baseball or soccer or whatever, if they're not ready for that next step, you have to be the person to say, hey, hold on a minute here, let's back up.
But the father that was with us at Road America when he announced this race, he was explaining it that same thing, like you're competing against like in late model, but in this group, and there's something with just the personality of road racers, the masters kind of take some of these younger drivers under their wing. And it's like, no, this is how we do it, and we're going to work together. And so I'm saying like Livingston and the Gary Gesselters of the world are competing with them, but also probably trying to help them out, but also following their line if they have something to show. And so it's a little bit more of like a mentor-mentee camaraderie thing here, where sometimes some of those late model guys are like, I can't get beat by a 12-year-old, and then they put their ego in it. But it just seems like this kind of family atmosphere at FRP is they're going to try to help the drivers out.
Well, I also like the fact that you mentioned, too, that many of these kids have come up through karting, so forth and so on. So they might be 14. They might have been racing each other for almost 10 years.
Exactly. And yeah, like you said, Ben, the Masters drivers in this class, they really do take pride in helping the younger drivers out. They're not trying to box them out and, I can't get beat by this kid. I talk to these guys that have been around this class for 10, 15, 20 years, and they tell stories about helping the kid that came through that's now running in Indy Lights or now is running in IMSA. They're proud of that. And you're right, they do learn from them as well. These kids come in and they have so much raw, unbridled talent that they might have a better idea of something, but they don't know really how to execute it. So then the masters kind of help them with that, and it is definitely a good. The camaraderie in the FRP paddock, I think, is unparalleled in any level of pro racing.
Yeah,
you don't have that. I can walk out there as a team owner, which in any other series, if I tried to just go walk under somebody else's tent, they're gonna, what are you doing here? But I can walk in, any of these guys' tent and just be like, hey, what's up? And nobody hides their cars. Because everybody wants to win on the track. Nobody's trying to win with secrets. You're trying to win by being the best on track. And I think that's the best thing about it. And that's what I teach my drivers in my team as well, is that you want to share all your data. You want to share all your video because you want to beat that person because you're better than them, not because we gave you a better car.
Well, and parents, you need to learn how to pump the brakes on yourself as well, right? Because you see it in every sport, every youth sport, whatever it might be, stick and ball or motorsports or hockey, whatever it is. Sometimes you get, especially the dads, moms can do it too with their daughters, trying to live through their kid a little bit, right? And you got to make sure that you're going on the child's journey, not your own.
Well, and be realistic. I mean, I get 1,000 emails a month from the parent of the next Ayrton Senna wanting me to give their kid free rides because, he'll win everything for you. And, I think sometimes you have to step back and say, okay, most people take a couple years to figure each car out. And that's, not everybody's going to step in a car and win their first race, win their first season and all that. And the other big thing that I think if you're getting into this sport, you have to accept a reality that you will crash. That's a lot of people, they think, oh, I don't need to budget for crash damage. My kid's not going to crash. No, if you're not crashing, you're not trying.
Yeah.
And that's kind of but that's one of the reasons you start at levels like this, because the crash damage is relatively minimal. You know, most people outside of racing, if they saw a crash damage bill, they would probably lose their mind.
Yeah.
But it's, for racing wise, it's one of the cheapest forms to wreck.
It can take your breath away in a hurry.
Here we come to green.
All right, let's see if they can get this one done. Livingston's getting real antsy up front there. He looked like he wanted to go, but he got shuffled back into fourth there.
Yeah, he came out wide and then gave the position over to Ayrton Kahan, I think.
So I learned something. So all last year we were Kahan. It's Khan. Apparently.
Oh.
I was stopped by an FRP official on the way in here and was told, hey, Khan. I said, oh, okay.
We'll try to fix that.
So I hope that we have the right information on that.
But look at this train coming through. That's what I love about this. And like we were talking about the draft, but we do have a leader change, but we might go right back.
Oop. Yeah, I think they're starting to learn that this might not run the full race group, and they're all thinking, I got to get this done.
Got to make it happen.
Yeah. So Khan now into second place. Behind DeFont. So Dana, you should be pretty happy there in our comment section.
You know, one thing you learn pretty quick about these lower formula categories is that the people that are a part of it are extremely passionate about this genre of racing. And a challenge for the lead in Mission Foods turn 10A. And we have a new leader as we head up under the bridge.
And now there's DeFontis in second and third.
Yeah.
And there might be some arrow at play here down the front straightaway as they fan out to go too wide, headed to turn one. Oh, and we got one on the wall here. And moved off that shot too fast to see where on the racetrack that car is sitting. I'm guessing by the fact that the majority of the field had gone by us,
but DeFont's
maybe
now
it's
in
a
the
turn
lead.
10.
So one of the DeFonts is
there
in
it
the
is,
lead.
yeah, turn 10. Just off
that's one of the
10A.
Cahill cars.
It's not quite in an impact area. So we'll see what they do in race control. I believe that's Dylan DeFonts in the front.
Yeah, back around.
Followed by Ayrton Khan.
New leader.
And Carson DeFonts.
Oh, he's moving.
I think they're coming at him. Get out of there.
There we go. We'll stay green.
Now watch what happens with this train in the draft as they come into 10A, 10B of Mission Foods.
Let's see who's good under braking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we come. Going to go three wide, maybe?
Oh.
The DeFontes are going to swap positions. And we've got a new leader with Khan to the front.
Dylan took it back there. So that's now Dylan and Carson in second, third. They're definitely getting racy here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing about this draft is that these cars punch a hole. I mean, they're all about the same size. So when you're going down the front straightaway, if you're in the lead, it's really, really hard to keep the lead going through one.
Well, that was from third to first right there with one of the DeFonts cars moving to the front of the field.
I believe that's Karsten now out in front.
And Khan's going to look like he's going to slot back into third.
So
the whole
if
time
you had
you
a
got
driver coming out of 7 for the last lap, would you want them to be in third or fourth? What's the ideal?
You know, if I was in this car, really you have to play it by ear, because if you don't want to be, you know, right now I'd want to be third, right? Livingston's, there's a little bit of gap there. You don't want to be sitting in Livingston's spot. He's kind of losing that traffic a little bit down the straight. So third, right? Now, if Livingston can close that gap and stay on their bumper, I'd rather be there. If you can get a little run, if the three of those are lockstep together like that, it's hard to go around, right? Yeah. Because you're one car versus 3 engines. But I think you've got the two in the back there, McCurdy And I'm not sure who the silver car is there. I apologize. Like I said, a lot of new names this year, so it's a little hard to learn, but they look like they're getting separated a little bit here. But
here's the brake test.
Livingston gets a little sideways there, going in the brake zone.
But didn't hit, so that's good. I think he did that to avoid Khan in front of him.
Here they come down the hill.
So see this breakaway here. You'll see this. This is all going to get eliminated going down the straight. You're just going to get eaten up because there's 3 cars with an engine here. So as they go into turn 3 into 5, they're going to freight train him if he can't make it through the S's. Now that would be the key. Yeah, there's a few drivers in this series over the years who have had the ability to just shake the draft, and it's really a skill that's very rare.
Nope, and another one off here.
Another new name to the series. Looks like it's Chase Sipley. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
So here's our leaders: Dylan DeFonts, Carson DeFonts, Ayrton Khan, and Livingston, our first in Masters. So the all-important turn 7.
So yes, David Livingston there. He's my age. So you've got a 45-year-old guy out there with kids that were born after 2000.
They got some traffic in front of them too. Battle amongst the DeFonces, inter-squad scrimmage there.
Yeah, I hope this lap car shouldn't be an issue. Now, that is a Cahill car, and I know that there's somebody on the radio down there telling Abigail to watch her mirrors that they're coming through. That's a...
Yeah. Okay, so she's doing the right thing.
Yep. I am very impressed with Carson able to keep that car out in front like that with these guys behind, with these guys in the train behind him here. That's very impressive. It looks like they just threw the double yellows at turn 1. Yeah, it looks like that may be our race there, guys.
Yeah. Well, that's because of that car coming out of 10.
Well,
right?
Dana D, you might have gotten first and second here.
It's like a DeFonce lockout, huh?
So is Tonus here with Cahill this weekend? I saw him. It's always disappointing for me to see Tonus in the paddock and not racing, because in almost every paddock he's the most talented driver in the paddock, and then he's wrenching on cars.
Well, that's what I walked through. You got Tonus wrenching on cars. You got Lowley walking around in a white shirt.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this. The paddock is getting. There's a lot of depth of people not driving anymore.
We got a pass there at turn 7 that shouldn't be happening under double yellow.
That could get entertaining in post race.
Just waving. So, Formula Race Promotions, another great series to go racing. It's open wheel. You're going to be with us later on in the season with a huge group of modern Formula Vs. I love the Vs. And then this F1600 group. And then it goes up to the Formula Atlantics, like our friend Keith Grant that's running TA. But the high downforce, high horsepower, you've got the Continentals and Atlantics and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, it's a great series. Yeah, they run it some of the iconic tracks, and partnering with SVRA has allowed us to run some of the bigger tracks and have these fun weekends and be joined by you guys and get us a little bit of PR and TV press, which is always great. So that's, but yeah, it's a great series to run. It's looking like a great season. This is the 20th year for FRP, so it's definitely a celebratory year. And it's looking like it's going to be fun. But yeah, we had great racing yesterday. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke coming out. Was that brake lock or was that?
No, he was smoking all the way
made
down the straightaway.
Checkered, so.
Yep, got the finish.
But I hope he
think
pulls
that was
offline.
McCurdy there that was smoking a little bit. Yeah. But yeah,
what's the cost of entry for an F1600 race?
So it depends on how you want to go about it. You can find competitive used cars. In the 40 to 60 range that'll run up front. A brand new Spectrum from Australia is going to cost you $100 grand, but you can buy a new Ray for around 40 or 50. But you can go to a team and you can be prepared to spend around $100,000 a year, and you can run a full season, including testing, tires, entry, all the goodies. And when you're comparing that to most people listening to this probably think, oh, that's ridiculous, but when you compare it to other series,
Can't do Spec Miata for that.
No, you can't do F4 for that. You can't, so it's it's one of the lowest entry costs of racing. But again, you can also purchase a car, buy a toolbox, purchase a trailer, convince your wife to move her car out of the garage and put the race car in the garage, and you can work on it yourself, and you can do all these things. I know a lot of guys that do that. Half this field are people that are running on their own. Half the field are people that go to a team, like Cahill or Pelfrey used to be one of the hot teams. And it just depends on how you want to do it. Livingston does his own thing. I know that. Him and his dad are here just working on the car together. And so you can be competitive and pretty much run up front and do your own deal. But a lot of the kids go with the teams because they're only going to be there a year or two and then they want to move on. So the capital investment is better used for other things. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the FRP and Hoosier, they do their really good job to keep things minimal cost. Like I said, the 6-tire rule, that was one of the things they implemented to keep costs down. Because otherwise, some of these guys would just bolt on new rubber every time they roll out on track.
Yeah, it does equalize it. We see that every series. The bigger teams would, put stickers on every time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you have that. And then, like I said, the entry fees, they try and keep it down. But, the world keeps getting more expensive. So it is what it is. But the entry fees for this are a third of what they are for some of the bigger pro series. And it's a good weekend. It's a lot of fun. The people that put on FRP, it's a good group of people. They've been around a long time. They care. They like watching the kids grow. And it's more of a, like you said, a family atmosphere. It's a pro series, but it's not cutthroat.
Yeah. So do me a favor, Dustin. Talk to Bob, because you guys are with us at several Speed Tour events this year. We have a great new production team that, everybody's here. So we'd like to broadcast more. We'd like to broadcast your groups,
I'm
too.
telling you, I have
tell
so many
Bob
emails
Wright,
and texts.
We'll make it happen.
Asking why our 20-car Atlantic field is not being broadcast, and I don't have an answer.
We can make it happen. So, but ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a break. It's actually church time here at Road Atlanta, so we have to step away and stay quiet for 2 hours, and then we're going to come back with a great international GT feature with Mr. Mission Foods himself, Juan Gonzalez, giving the start command and then going out there and racing for an hour. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back in about 2 hours.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, all for less than a set of race tires. Haggerty, let's drive together.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Architecture is about everything. We change the environment. We are changing how people live in the environment today. So we basically put our fingerprint on the future of what the United States looks like. My overall business philosophy is that I'm engaged with my company from top to bottom, and I think the racing world and helping out the next generation and younger drivers is a passion of mine, and it's getting stronger and stronger every year. With that, that's why I want to be involved.
The NOLA Speed Tour returns to NOLA Motorsports Park March 28th through the 30th, featuring the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association with SVRALife, Formula Regional Americas, F4 U.S. Championship, Ligier JSF4, and the Optimus Search for the Ultimate Street Car. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lap. You do not want to miss the NOLA Speed Tour March 28th through the 30th. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
But you had some racing in there, so tell us how it was for you.
Oh yeah, it was a good race. Started 6th, and a little unfortunate with all the incidents. Hope everyone's okay, but yeah, good race. Like to thank Eric Langbein Racing for a good car this weekend, and FRP for hosting a great event.
All right, thank you. All right, yes, grab one of those. All right, so the DeFonce brothers. Karsten, you are number 2 here, but you were number 1 in a previous race. You guys have been battling each other, not only your other competitors, but you got a little brother rivalry going on here, which is kind of fun to see. So tell us how your race was.
Yeah, the race went pretty well. Like Ayrton said, it was pretty unfortunate with the cautions. Kind of sucks not to get a full race in, but it went well all weekend. I'm glad to get the season off to a good start with good momentum heading into Mid-Ohio. And yeah, good job to Dylan, good job to the Kahn brothers and everyone else. They all raced well. I got to thank my dad, my mom. I got to thank CT Motorsports, Pablo and TJ and Jack Sullivan for all the help. Thank you guys.
All right. Dylan, come on over. So you missed podium last race, but you've got to be feeling good to be number one in this race. Tell us how it was.
Yep, really good to get the win in the last race. Started second and was able to get to the lead off the start, but with all those yellows and even without the yellows, it was really hard to get away from anyone. Really good competition up by the front. And yeah, just held on to the end, and that last yellow saved me, I think, a little. But I'd like to thank CT Motorsports, my parents, and Jack Sullivan for all the help this weekend, and hopefully we can keep this going into the rest of the season.
All right, go stand up there for some photos. Hey, FRP wants to thank not just the drivers, but all the crew and especially the family members that let these guys come out here and race with us. Big hand for these guys. Woo! Woo! All right, we'll see you all in Mid-Ohio. Let's have some Masters. Mr. Bob Reed, Mr. Joe Colasaco, and Mr. David Livingston Jr. All right, Mr. Bob. I think you had some pretty good runs in there with the double yellows and starts and restarts. So tell us how it was for you.
Yeah. The year was this weekend's been a little rough, but I kind of was fortunate with some of the full course yellows and was able to keep in touch with some of the front guys. And I got a good run on Mike coming down the hill and the restart and got by him, and then away we went. So we just got to hang on from there. And glad to get something out of the weekend.
All right, well done. Mr. Joe Colasaco, been on the podium every time this weekend. You're still battling. I know you're hunting for that first place, but tell us about how your race was today.
I'm going to watch what I say. It's not a good day for us, not a good day, I guess. Even, with all these yellows and cautions, I think I'm sorry for the spectators and fans and crew because we owe them more than that. I think we're better drivers out there. We learned to stay on track. Unfortunately, lap one, I got hit from behind and drove off the track, lost about 7 spots, and just could never regain with all the yellows. So, just it happens that way. We picked up a spot on the last few laps into the Masters, second to Masters. So, I wanted to thank Ed, Carmen, Oriana Racing, Hoosier Tire, FRP, all the guys and the fans and the mechanics coming out, corner workers. And maybe we'll have better results in Mid-Ohio, hopeful.
All right, we want clean race in Mid-Ohio. Mr. Livingston, you've been on the podium consistently, and you're a long-time racer with us, and so congratulations. You just got skunked yesterday being on the overall podium, but come on, give us a few words.
Yeah, really good weekend. Thank you to FRP and all the sponsors, my crew, Dad, Bruce. Really fun weekend. Really didn't change much in the car, straight out of the trailer for the weekend, so it's pretty good. Fortunate with a good starting position, racing with some of the younger guys that were good and clean and working together, able to get a little gap. A lot of caution laps. Hopefully the beginning of the season jitters are out of everyone's situation. In Mid-Ohio, we really hook up and get a lot of green laps. But just real fortunate. Kind of got balked at the second restart. Lost off the podium right there. Again, just wasn't meant to be for the overall podium, but glad to be here right now. So looking forward to Mid-Ohio, and thanks to everybody.
All right, you guys, well done. Jump up there for some photos. Thank you all again. Woo! Yeah!
Yeah, the second restart.
They just got better draft on you or something.